I'm Katrina, and this is Sow and Tare, and I want to talk to you about having chili confidence. What does that mean? I don't know, I just made it up. In the background, I'm pressure canning something. I'm figuring out my electric stove, so if I pop in and out, I'm adjusting the temperature. So, mind the jiggler sound. So I make chili every once in a while, and for me it's kind of a leftover whatever. There's some basics that I put in there. I eat meat, so there's always a meat. You can do this recipe without meat. It's not really a real recipe, but what I do is I do usually black beans, pinto beans. Sometimes I do navy beans. I do have some, but I'm gonna wait on that because I have a different recipe I want to do that. And kidney beans. And of those beans, kidneys are the only ones that are extra special. I don't remember what exactly they have in them, but when you soak them or when you cook them in water, you should be discarding that water because it has something in it. And if someone remembers what that is or knows what that is, go ahead and put it in the comments below. If I figure it out, I will. It's easy to look up. I just haven't. So kidney beans, everything else I do from dried bean. Kidney beans are something I just buy the can of. I only use kidney beans for chili, so I'm comfortable spending a little bit more and buying the one in the can. Now, the one in the can, okay, I'm not like loyal to a brand. It's a kidney bean, but I always drain them and rinse them just in case. So that's something I do. The rest of it, I use dried beans, and I actually cook in a pressure cooker. So I have two pressure cookers. This is an Instapot, this is a New Wave. Unfortunately, the New Wave doesn't make this size anymore, which is really not a good choice to do. It's not a good choice for them to stop. It's a great choice to get. But it's 13 quarts, so I like to do this when I'm planning to can something or freeze it or freeze dry. So I want you to have the confidence to make something without a recipe, with guidelines. I want you to have the confidence to throw something into a pressure cooker and let it do its magic, and whether or not you can it after, that's up to you. I want you to have the confidence to can if you want to can. The confidence to freeze dry if you want to freeze dry. I haven't freeze dried chili yet. I'm going to can this batch, and we'll do freeze drying another day. But I want you to have that confidence to take the things you have and make it into something. And I feel that's a really important thing to know in the kitchen. So yeah, so I do black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, and then I also do tomato sauce. Now, someone gave me a long time ago, and I'm going to use them. Someone gave me some diced tomatoes and some traditional pasta sauce. I have no idea what that is. I also have my own canned tomato sauce, and I mean, it's really good stuff, and it really is just tomato sauce. So tomato sauce, it's just tomatoes with some lemon juice for the canning process. So I'm going to put probably a couple of these in, maybe one. We'll see. I'm going to use up the store-bought stuff first. And then I also have cooked rabbit, and again, you can use any meat or no meat. And so I already have some cooked rabbit that I pulled off the bone. I cooked 2 rabbits, and I also did bone broth, which I will put a link to up here, the video for that. It's actually happening right now. It's being canned right now. So, yeah, so that's happening right now, but hopefully I'll have the link by the time I put this up. And what I'm canning now is turkey bone broth. What I am using with the chili is a combination of quail and rabbit. So I took the bones, put in the freezer until I had a bunch of them, made the bone broth, and it's been in the refrigerator for a few days, and I'm ready to use it, or use part of it. It's quite a bit. I might end up just canning some of it. But whenever you have bone broth or broth of any sort, it's a good idea to think, what can I use this for? You can use a lot of it for rice or for noodles, something that's going to soak up that moisture. You can use it as a liquid part in bread recipes. You can use it for any sort of liquid part in cooking. You can substitute, no, you're not going to say any. Okay, a lot of things you can substitute bone broth or that kind of thing for. And it makes your meal healthier and a lot more tasty in some cases. All right, so let's get started. Like I said, use dried beans. I'm going to rinse them first. And when you rinse your beans, you want to go through and look for rocks. Now, that sounds really silly, but it's important. So when beans are harvested, they're harvested with a harvester, not a person. They're dry beans, they dry on the plant, and then they're picked by machinery. And the machinery can kick up the dirt, and you can get rocks. It's better to get those out with your hands ahead of time than with your mouth with a tooth. So I have found small rocks in them before. They're usually about the size of whatever bean you have, because they have a sorting process by size as well. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I don't have amounts of things. If you're not familiar with cooking beans from dry beans, then maybe try that first, especially if you're using a pressure cooker or whatever. To follow the instructions on the back of the bag. Most bags, unless you got bulk, most bags have instructions on how to cook it. Follow those instructions. Sometimes they want you to put salt in, you don't have to. Sometimes they want to do all these different things, you don't have to. Now, one cautionary thing, the way I'm doing it, everything except for the kidney beans that I discussed earlier, all the beans, they're going to soak and cook in the water they soaked in. If your tummy is sensitive to bean stuff, you might want to soak them separately, rinse them, and then add more liquid, which is what all the bags say to do. I don't appear to be sensitive to that, so I don't do that. So what I do is I put them in dry, I put in the bone broth, and the bone broth is what those beans get rehydrated with. So that's my philosophy behind that. I basically dump a bunch of stuff in and go, but you do need to rinse and look for rocks in your beans. And if you have not cooked beans before, you're going to want to know. So if a bean's this big, it can get this big in cooking, right? So if it's that big, it gets bigger. It doesn't stay the same. So you don't want to fill up your pot. And you want there to be liquid in your pot. You don't want it to be super, super thick at the end. So this may take you a couple tries, but keep on trying until you get it, because once you know how to make chili, I mean, all you need is beans, and it is better with tomato sauce. I did it one time and forgot the tomato sauce. It was not as good. So beans, tomato sauce, meat, and spices. That's it. You can do any type of bean. You can put lima beans in there if you want. You can put carrots in there if you want. You can put all sorts of stuff into your chili. It's an anything goes type of meal. And like I said, you can have meat, no meat. You could do mushroom stock instead of bone broth. You can do all sorts of stuff. So want you to have the confidence to do that. And the rest of this video is going to be very quick. I'm going to just put on, I'll tell you what I'm putting in as I put in it and go from there. For this video, I mostly wanted to concentrate on getting you more involved in making something from what you have. If you have beans and you have tomato sauce and you have spices, you have chili. If you have meat, put that in there too. If you have, maybe you had a bunch of people over and you have lots of leftovers, lots of different kinds of meat, you can put different kinds of meat in. I've had chili that had chicken, turkey, quail, and rabbit and beef in the same chili. You can do that. I don't mark them to what I put in them. I just say it's chili and here's the date. But you can totally do that. And it's a really, really great process to know, because you can, like I said, use those leftovers and make chili. So here we go. Okay, we have black beans, pinto beans, and kidney beans. Kidney beans look like they're more. I did almost double measured. So this is about 4 cups, almost double measured from 2 large cans. That should be about the same ratio, because the kidney beans will not get bigger. They were already canned, they were already in a can. They will not get bigger. Both the pinto beans and the black beans will get bigger. I don't think they'll get quite as big as a kidney bean, but they'll get bigger. So I'm trying to measure things for you guys. So if you wanted to follow this, maybe you could. You might get lost in the spices, but we're going. All right. To this, I'm going to add the rabbit, and it could be any meat or no meat or mushrooms or tofu. I don't know the rules about canning tofu, so I don't know about that. But as far as eating it, there you go. All right, so I was going to put 2 rabbits in, but this is the meat of about 1 rabbit. I don't know what parts are where, but there was 2 containers, and that's about 1 rabbit's worth of meat. And I want to make sure I have enough liquid. I'll probably do this twice, so I'll save the other one for another batch, and we'll go from there. All right, I had a small can of tomato sauce, small can of diced tomatoes. I usually don't do diced tomatoes in mine, but hey, I had a can someone gave me. And then about 1 cup of my own tomato sauce, and I think that's enough tomato. So I'll do spices, and then we're going to do the quail and rabbit bone broth. All right, almost a head of garlic. Why almost? Because that's what looked right to me. Yes, there's green in there. Yes, it was starting to grow. Yes, you can still use it. It supposedly is a little bit more bitter, but not enough to make a difference to me. Now, I can be accused of not adding salt to a lot of things, so I will add some to this. Probably not nearly as much as what other people would, but there you go. That was pink Himalayan salt. I'm using a different container and I wrote salt on it. Now I could go and pick some peppers, but I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to. So here's my cayenne. I think I have dried cayenne somewhere, but anyway, I'm just going with this. I'm going to put some celery seeds in here. There we go. This is mustard seed. Be careful with allergies for this one. If you have a friend like I do that's allergic, either don't put it in or mark your jars clearly for what has it. I put a little splash of ginger in everything. So, there's my little splash of ginger. It doesn't actually need it, I just like it. Alright, here's our coriander. I usually use a mortar and pestle. I don't know where the other part of it is. I'll use a spoon in it, maybe. I don't know where it is. Oh, let's see if this works. I'm going to have to put my hand over it. It doesn't have to be smooth, I just want you to break up the seed coats. It smells good. Alright, well that's good enough. It's not what I normally do, but it's good enough. And I really need to find the other part. Alright, we're getting some black pepper. This is a secret to good chili. So you can put whatever other seasonings you want. I don't include onion because I don't like onion, and it's really fine in a chili if it's really small and really cooked. I don't use it. Cumin though, that is the flavor of chili. So you do want cumin in here. I've been told I overdo it on the cumin. I've been told it tastes really good. Depends on what your tastes are. I like stronger flavors, so I'm gonna put some cumin in. And what I do is I taste it after it's cooked, and then I'll add more of whatever it needs. So don't just stop the video here, wait till the end when I taste it, and then I'll add what we think it needs. So, but cumin is an essential ingredient for chili. Yeah, that's pretty good. And you remember, I'm using quite a big pot. This is 13 quarts. We're ready for the stock, unless I forgot something, which is possible. Yep, this first batch happened without paprika, unfortunately. Add it. Oh, actually, I'm gonna put some of this in there. I got this for the chickens, but we'll use that as well. We'll see how that is. I did have that other spicy in there. Okay, this is the quail and rabbit bone broth. It's a little jiggly, and the fat is on the top because it was overnight, well actually a few days, in the refrigerator. So I'm going to use this to get the fat off. You're welcome to use the fat. You can use this fat in cooking. You can use it in biscuits, whatever you want to use it for, use it. It's a little drier on top because it has been in the refrigerator uncovered. Probably would have been better to cover it, but that's okay. And that's how you get the fat out of your broth, is to make it cold. And I really like how gelled this is, because that has lots of collagen in it, has lots of good stuff. And we can make a dance. You don't have to get all the fat off. You don't have to get any of the fat off. But probably going to have a better product if you do. Get some of it at least. Alright, I'm happy with that. And look at this. Ready? How fun is that? Oh, I gotta do it again because you guys weren't centered. Here. This is how jiggly bone broth can get. There's quail and rabbit. It's amazing. Alright, you can see how thick this is. I put the spoon in here and then took care of my other canning stuff. Came back and it slid down like 2 inches. So this is super duper. I mean, this is where Jell-O comes from, right? I mean, if you want quail rabbit Jell-O, there you go. It might not be tasty, but it's going to be really good for you. Well, it'll be tasty, just not like Jell-O tasty. Now, here's a trick. I use this as a ladle. Look at that. So 4 cups is like right here, so it's going to be a little more 4 cups. I'm just keeping track of that for you guys, not for me. Two. And that's probably going to be where we end, because we do want some distance between here and the top. I'm going to mix it and see what we get. We do want that liquid. I know it's not liquid, but it will be as soon as it gets a little bit of heat. We want that liquid to get all the way down to the bottom. And maybe adding some. I have a little bit of room I can work with. Actually, it went down quite a bit once I started stirring. Okay. Now, remember those beans are going to get bigger, so I'm actually going to put more broth in. Let's do half a scoop. Let's do a little more. All right, there we go. That's what I'm going with. I'll probably add more cumin and probably more ginger, but I want to make sure I have good base. I might need more, just looking at the color. And add more tomato sauce. That's about half. All right, let's do it. So for the New Wave, it has a setting for beans, and that's going to be most appropriate, and then I jack it up from there. So for this one, I close it, I turn it, I go to seal. This is a little seal thing, and I forgot to plug it in. So it's plugged in now, and depending on what type of pressure cooker you have, they're different buttons, like there's Instant Pot and then the New Wave. I am actually more familiar with the New Wave. I got the Instant Pot because it has a yogurt setting, or you could do it. I think it says yogurt setting. Yeah, it has a yogurt setting, and I still haven't used it for that. And I figured I didn't need to make this much yogurt. And the other one, honestly, is good for, like, if you're going to cook one rabbit and you've packaged it correctly so it's in a circle, you can actually use the smaller one and cook it from frozen in 35 minutes. So, and that's pretty cool. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press on, let's see what soup says. Yeah, soup's not big enough. I'm going to do beans. Well, beans also says 20. I usually do 40 minutes, and that's because the beans, when it's not that long, are still not hard, but they still have that. I like the beans to be actually like cooked. So I'm gonna go take it up to 40 minutes. Now, if you're doing this on the stove, I recommend cooking the beans separately first, and then adding the rest of your ingredients, because the rest of the ingredients don't really have to cook that long, especially if you've already cooked the meat. And we're gonna go start. Now, if you've already cooked the meat, then that's fine. If you haven't cooked the meat, then this will cook it. If you're cooking it, you know, even if you're boiling or something like that, but if you like had meat that you wanted to put in here that wasn't cooked, and you have meat that is cooked, you can put both of those in here. Just be cognizant of bones. So I did find some bones when I was putting in the rabbit, but be cognizant of bones and that kind of thing. And so once this is done cooking, I plan on having some of it and then canning some of it, and the canning process is the same as the broth. The timing is different. So I don't think I'll actually show that in this video because I already have a video showing that. So I'll put a link to that video up here in the corner. And if we want to go through that again, we can go through that again. The only thing that's going to be different between that link and here is that my pressure, my weight gauge is going to be at 15 pounds of pressure instead of 10 pounds of pressure. And that's because I now live above 1,000 feet in elevation. Where I was before was below 1,000 feet, which means it was 10 pounds of pressure. So I'm going to let this go. And like I said, I'm going to do 2 batches of this. So I'll probably let this go and then can it and do another batch and then can part of that and actually do, you know, save some of it to eat. So I'll probably have dinner out of this batch though. It's 4 o'clock. I should feed the cats. For canning, where I am, and then if you want to do that, you can do that. Again, it does require a pressure canner, not a pressure cooker. So you cannot cook this in a pressure cooker and then can it in a pressure cooker. I think in my canning, so I'll put a link to the intro video for my canning playlist, kind of intro to canning playlist. And the one thing that I should have said slightly differently is that there is one pressure canner out there that is electric. It has not been approved by the FDA, but it meets all the standards the FDA has set for pressure canners. So it's not that it's been approved by it, it's that it meets what's been set. Personally, I would never can in an electric pressure canner, because even regular pressure canners that are not weight gauge, I chose a weight gauge because that is, it's the same weight anywhere, and you just have to know your elevation to change the, to know what weight to put on. And so there's nothing that needs calibrating. There is a dial on it, but it's not used for the canning process. It's kind of a second, okay, this looks like it's getting up there, or, oh, it's gone to 0, now I'm good. Some of the other ones that are dial gauge, you're actually supposed to get that calibrated every single year. And supposedly you're supposed to be able to go to the extension office. Not every extension office has the calibration tools, and not everybody lives anywhere near an extension office. So that's why I chose the pressure canner to be a weight gauge, or a weight, use the jiggler. And if that one, if the dial gauge has to be, it doesn't have anything to do with electricity, but if the dial gauge one has to be checked every year and calibrated every year, and I just think about, you have your phone, your cell phone, your smartphone, whatever we're calling it these days, and it updates, I don't know how many times, right? And it screws up on updates, and it still needs to be updated. You think about an electronic meat thermometer, that has to be calibrated. There is a nut on the thermometer that calibrates it. You have to turn it. So I'd rather stick with, I know how much this little weight weighs. And anyway, so that's why I chose weight gauge, and is also why I will not can in a pressure canner that is electric. Lots of people do it. If you bought one of those and you want to know how to use it, I would look and see who uses it. If you want to learn the process, you can learn the process here. I just don't know. I just am not going to show you guys how to use that type because I'm not going to use it. So, but you can learn how the process is done. Definitely you can learn that here. So, anyway, I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out, and we will have a taste test. I will put some cheddar cheese on it because that's what Chili loves. And yeah, we will see you in a bit. All right, let's see what this is like. I'm prepping another one right here. I'm just gonna use the same spoon here. Nice and steamy. It's been open for a couple minutes, and that, my friends, is chili. Now you want extra water in this, or extra liquid in this, because of the canning process. If you don't want that much liquid, you can use it to make rice, or use it to make more beans, or use less to begin with. So that's how the three types reconstitute. And let's test it. That one's good. I think it could go 45 minutes. That's what I did with my last batch. I forgot this one was 40. But this is fine because we're canning this batch. so it will get more cooked then. You can see it steamed up the window. I'm gonna do a taste test. I think it needs more cumin based on the smell. I think it needs more cumin. There's something else, but I don't know what. So I'll do more. I'll do a little more cumin, and then I'll can it up. And if I need to add stuff to it later, I'll add stuff to it later. Good. Much better. Much better. All right. Good to go. I might have been a little heavy, but that's okay. We'll just put extra cheese on it. So I have my chili here. I like lots of cheese on my chili. Try not to spill it. And it is awesome. I like sharp cheddar cheese, and it's good stuff. Super hot. So the first time through, I forgot to add paprika. So when I tasted this, I actually added paprika when I heated it up again, and it is amazing. So yeah, the second batch got paprika. This first batch didn't. But this is so awesome, and I want you guys to have confidence. You can make this. You can make it. It's awesome. It tastes good. Add cheese, and it becomes cheesy goodness. So, I hope this gives you the confidence you need to make something from scratch. Make chili. Make chili with all sorts of stuff in it. You can add all sorts of stuff that I didn't even add. You don't even have to have beans. You don't have to have meat. You can make it out of all sorts of different things. So, thank you for watching. Share this around. Someone needs a confidence boost in the kitchen. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I do also have a membership, which we cook together every month. You and your kitchen, me and mine, and it's a whole lot of fun. So if you want to join that, go ahead and click the join button below, or there is a link in the description of the video. And it's called Katrina's Kits. It's fun. We have a blast every month. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and enjoy your day. Have a wonderful day.